Hello and welcome to Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. Hello, Mrs. Farmer.
Mr. Farmer, how are you?
You look ravishing today, of course.
You look very ravishing yourself.
You know what? We both just kind of got over our head colds.
I feel better.
Feel better.
Yeah, I feel better.
It's time to be outside. We're going to cook outside as much as we can this year. And you know what? Think about what we've got around us. You don't even think about. Hunting and fishing to us is a way of life.
Right.
A lot of people grow up like that in rural America. A lot of people would like to do that, but they just don't have the ability. They're in the city.
Right.
So what happens when we take a deer? Here's the deer I took this year, nice 9-point,
Very
big
nice.
bodied deer. What does a big body mean?
Lots of meat, lots of food.
Lots of meat. In a little while, we're gonna go fishing to just talk about the things that we bring to our table, which are naturally occurring around this area. I've hunted and fished my whole life. Kentucky Field, I was over there for 122 years.
That's a lot of years.
A long time.
Right.
So we bring that fish and that game to our table. We catch a striper.
Right.
Which is nothing to us. It happens all the time. So if we caught an 11-pound striper, which is right in that range to me of really good eating,
Yes.
take it, fillet it, cut out that red meat, and you've got yourself something special.
Yeah.
White, flaky, firm flesh. You can do so many things with it. What do you think if you had to buy that fish? We looked this up online. If you had to buy that fish to take to somebody, just the fish itself, the whole fish, just gutted, how much do you think?
Boy, no idea.
$218 for an
For one
11-pound
fish? For one fish.
For
Wow.
one fish. So you think about this
Wow.
right here. It's a striper from Cumberland. So $218 for an
one
11-pound
fish.
From one fish. Now you think once you cut the head off and once you cut all the waist off, that's
not
a
much
couple
fish.
pounds gone.
Yeah.
All right, now we looked and thought, okay, what would you get for an 8-ounce piece of meat through the same fish company? An 8-ounce piece of meat, skin on.
Okay.
What do you think that is?
I have no idea.
$25.
Wow.
So the point I'm trying to make here, and I recently did a podcast with Kentucky Field, and during this segment, we're talking about how fortunate we are here with the
Right.
Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they've done such a great job managing the resources. We got deer, we got turkey, we got elk, we got the whole thing going. So we can go to the lake and bring back pounds and pounds of fish, your legal limit. And what is it worth in the real world? A lot.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about venison.
Okay.
Backstrap. Beautiful, wonderful.
Wonderful meat.
This one's been trimmed up. All that, they call it silver meat off the top.
Perfect.
It doesn't have a good taste. Deer with the bone, with the fats, you don't
It's
want.
not good,
Not
yeah.
necessarily the best taste. We try to trim that up as much as we can. So we have some loin here, which has been fairly trimmed up. So what do you think that would cost? If somebody said, hey, we want you to come down here and do a wild game feast, I cannot take my deer.
To buy a tenderloin.
Per pound,
I have no idea. That's a lot too.
about $30
A pound. Wow.
A pound
Wow.
for venison. So we are blessed with
Yeah.
this resource. Think about what we've got here.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Farmer, I tell you what we're going to do. So you've caught your striper, your expensive striper. And for a man with one arm, these are mighty handy.
I love those.
Instead of trying to cut with a knife, look what you can do.
Tracy got us those. I love those.
Thank you, Tracy. So we're going to cut off a portion here,
$25 hunk of meat.
$25 hunk of meat.
Okay. Wow.
Let's go ahead and cut off a couple.
This makes this dinner seem even more special.
It
I didn't realize
is.
how expensive it was.
So there's 2 pieces. That's probably a whole piece.
Yeah.
Now, here's a little bit of red meat. You don't want that in there. I'll cut that out. But really, that is firm flesh fish. It's beautiful. To me, there's a reason it's worth $25 a pound.
Wow.
Or for 8 ounces, excuse me. Now, we have been adopted by a cat that just showed up. You wanted to call him Boo Boo. I want to call him TT, so he's Boo Boo TT.
That's right.
So we have this cat, and I usually don't even like cats, but Boo Boo loves me for some reason.
Yes, he
I
does.
don't know why. All right, hold this right here, and he smells the fish.
Yes, he does.
apparently.
That's his favorite.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start. There's so many ways you can fix this fish. Now you've seen us do it with lemon butter, the white wine, so on and so forth.
Good.
You've seen us blacken it. But today we're going to make just a little marinade. I'm going to probably go 1/4 cup, a little olive oil. Then we're going to come back with some garlic. Where's my garlic press? So instead of, I want to get all these juices out here. So that's 2 nice pieces of garlic. All right, now we're going to come back. Let's put a little thyme. Let's go pretty natural on this. Let's take our, and it doesn't matter if we get our seeds in here.
I think it's just a
This is
marinade.
just our marinade. We're going to take the juice of about 1/2 lemon. And if you wanted to, You could put just a little blackened seasoning in it. So far we've got thyme, put a little pepper,
Gotta have pepper.
put a little salt, and I put a little garlic, a little more garlic, and I put some thyme in. Let's take just a little bit of a seafood seasoning, or a blackened seasoning if you like that. And this is gonna be subtle.
Smells good. Oh wow.
We don't
smells
have to
good.
do much. This fish is so beautiful,
Yeah, it is.
so wonderful.
You see what's behind you? Look, he's right there. He's
There
forming.
he is. We have been adopted. All right, so there we've got that. That smells heavenly.
It does smell really good.
So we're gonna take our fish, just gonna
Oh, it
drop
smells
in there.
good.
And once I get them in there, Nicki, if you'll just kind of mush them around,
I will do it.
and we'll let that set for about an hour, hour and a half. And that's just a basic, simple, whatever you like in your stuff.
Yummy
You don't want to
marinade.
overpower it.
That looks good.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Let's just set that aside. I want you to look
Oh, so
at the
good.
amount of fat.
I don't see any fat.
There's not any fat.
That looks
That's
really
the beautiful
good.
thing. All right, so we're gonna take our beautiful
That is beautiful.
$30 a pound if you were to buy it. And because it has no fat on it, and because butter is beautiful,
Butter's good. You want
we're
a
gonna
butter?
pour a little bit of butter on here,
All right, the whole thing.
all the way down. That's gonna make
Good.
it's gonna make everything adhere to it and give it a wonderful taste as well, because again, there's no fat here. So now we're gonna come back with some salt.
I have salt.
What are we gonna do with this venison today?
What
Ms.
are you
Farmer?
gonna do? I don't know. What are you doing with it?
We're gonna put this dry mixture on it,
Mm-hmm.
which is, what do you think I'm gonna put on here? What would you put on your steak?
Salt, pepper, and garlic.
Yep,
And then you're adding some extra things
I'm
here.
gonna add a few extra things.
Okay.
Now, think about when you taste prime rib. Think about something that, a lot of time, a really good prime rib, what stands out?
You always know. I don't
A
know.
little bit
what
of thyme,
time. Okay.
just a little bit, not a whole lot, a little dried thyme.
Sounds good. Smells good.
And we just went to a steakhouse recently that just put a little bit of paprika
Yes,
on
they
there.
did.
So now, we talked about the fact that we have no fat on
Mm-hmm.
this cat,
That's right.
which is good. As much as we don't like to admit it, we're getting older, Mrs. Farmer.
That's
I
right.
turned 38 on Thursday.
Oh, I turned 36.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
We're gonna have to start watching what we eat.
That's right.
To some degree. Now listen, I'm a carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
They're finding out that fats, certain animal fats are good for you. I like that.
I see where you're going here. Need some
See where
help?
I'm going?
I do. I like this.
So I'm gonna just put bacon across the top of that, so when I'm smoking it, the bacon, the fat, begins to heat up and the juices go
I can't
down.
wait.
Oh,
That looks
and it's gonna
amazing. Oh,
smoke.
yum.
Now, we're gonna turn our pellet smoker on about 250 degrees.
Okay.
Now, the thing about this venison, like a lot of other things, you don't want to cook the snot out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You want that internal temperature, maximum, to me, 145. You want some pink in there. So the fish is going to set for about an hour and a half. This is going to marinate for about an hour and a half. Then we're going
Okay.
to put it on the smoker at 225. We're going to preheat it like to 250, then turn it down to 225.
Okay.
And go about, we're going to check it at about an hour just to see where we're at, just
Okay.
to make sure. And
Sounds
then
good.
you're going to do your corn casserole. Normally we would do your cheesy potatoes with this,
Mm-hmm.
but you've already done that on the show. So we're going to do another side
That's a really good side.
that we don't necessarily do with this too often, but it's really good. We had it for Thanksgiving. It's so
Yeah.
easy. Then we're going to get your Dutch oven going over here, 350 degrees on your corn casserole, about
That's
an
right.
hour.
About an hour.
Beautiful
Exactly.
stuff. All right,
Then we get to
let's
eat.
get this going. All right, now this is an easy, delicious
Yeah, it is.
deal here. What do you call it, corn casserole?
A corn casserole, yeah.
I asked you to add a couple things to it this time just because
That's what you like.
what we're eating. We got some jalapeno peppers, the mild. They're already pickled in the jar.
Right.
And a few onions too, which you normally wouldn't add to yours.
Right. But it makes
just
it
for the night.
delicious.
How do you do this?
Well, if you put a little olive oil in my pan for me, because we're going
All
to
right.
cook this out here. Thank you. And actually, this is, I have 4 cups of corn, which is actually 2 cans of corn, if you
All
want
right.
to do that. This is the whole corn, and I've drained it. You don't want any liquid in that. That's whole.
This is a good Dutch oven recipe.
Simple recipe. And now I have a can of cream corn, which is actually 2 cups of corn.
All right.
We're going to add that in. I have got a 1/3 cup of sugar.
All right.
Gotta have your sugar. And I have a whole cup of sour cream here. That's our
How
start.
can you go wrong?
I know it. Now I'm going to take actually 1 egg. Let's throw that in there.
Mm-hmm. All right.
See how we're just pouring it all in? We're going to stir it at the end. Now I have some bolted cornmeal here, 3/4 a cup. Yeah, go ahead and throw that in there. And we're going to add onion because that was a great idea. You always have great ideas when you add to my recipes.
You know what? I'd put that in my cornbread. We really like that.
It is
I call it
good.
my bear camp. We were in Canada. I killed a great big old bear. in Canada, which was really good eating, by the way.
Yes, it was.
And Joe, and this is kind of how he did his cornbread.
He did his.
Do you want salt and pepper in there, Mr.
I
Farmer?
do, if you do me some salt and pepper. And you said these were kind of mild peppers here? Mm-hmm. Okay, but could you put
Just
hot
a
in?
little
You could do hot.
Yeah, and you can leave them out completely if you want. Yeah, if you want to make it hot, fire it up.
'Cause I was being careful not touching them here, but I'm not
Salt and
gonna.
pepper?
Yep. All right. And I'm just gonna throw all this in.
Oh.
Now remember you talked about the butter, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna stir this up a little bit, and then we're gonna pour some butter right on the top.
I can dig it. I've been doing a lot of fishing here lately. You know, I've had $70,000, $80,000 bass boats, and I've had big boats and little boats and canoes.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here lately, I've been fishing in my kayak.
You have, haven't you?
I did 10 miles yesterday. Here's a picture of my little rig. And I'm telling you, what a way to bring home some fresh meat, which we're talking about tonight. Speaking of hunting and fishing and using this in our recipes, David Rogers with the D,
Took us fishing.
my buddy from Georgetown, went fishing the other, went crappie fishing with him. During this crappie fishing, we caught a hybrid
Yes, you
striped
did.
bass. And again, how much is striped bass?
A lot.
$25
For a little
for an
piece.
8-ounce
Right.
skin-on
Wow.
segment. Are you kidding me? Tonight we can eat all we want.
That's right.
So let's pitch to our little fishing trip we took the other day
was fun.
to get some meat for the table.
Yes.
David Rogers with a D. Yes, buddy of mine from we've known each other since 1948.
Gosh, that seems like that's a long time.
You know, we fished together in the past, and you're probably one of the better crappie fishermen
I
around.
appreciate that. I don't know about that.
Well, you won this boat crappie fishing.
Well, I
That's-
did.
That's to say
Thanks
something.
for fishing with me today. I've enjoyed
Thanks for
this.
having me out. Now, look at here. Look how thick that fish is. That's going to be some great
Some good
fillets.
fillets.
Taylorsville Lake. You remember back in the day when this wasn't the best crappie lake in the world?
Now, they changed the side limits to 10 inches, the size limit, and that really helped the lake.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the little old fin things before with big eyes and a big mouth and no body to them.
When I was working in fisheries, we used to study this cove a lot.
Yes.
You can't tell where we are. It's
No,
top
it's
secret,
a top secret.
location.
That's right.
But you know what? We were so discouraged because those little thin fish with the great big
All
eyes.
day long. Yeah.
Just terrible. But look what has happened in the last couple of years.
These are nice. And we've had a great day out here enjoying nature and cloudy, and it's late November. To do this in late November is amazing.
What's it take to catch crappie?
Well, you gotta find some brush piles this time of year and some drops. Water temperature is a key, obviously. So, but it's been a good day. We're using some long poles and different techniques and fishing brush piles. We use a lot of live bait right now.
These are some of the better
These are
ones, but
typical.
man, those are good eating fish, and you'll see us cooking them up very shortly. And I want to thank you again for taking us out.
It's my pleasure, sir. I had a great day with you.
Tough
Thank
job you've got.
you. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. Thanks, David.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, now we're going to cook this at 350
For about an hour.
for about an hour.
And it's going to be
How many on
delish.
top? How many on the bottom?
16 and 8, 7 and 2. I don't know.
14 and 7.
I was close. 14 and 7.
14
All right.
and 7.
14
So I'm
and
going to
7.
take this over here and we're going to get it rolling. All right. Butter, shallots,
Yum. Can't go wrong.
red wine, beef broth.
This your special sauce?
We just need a little bit.
Yeah.
Better than bouillon. I'm not measuring here, but I'm giving you the basic ingredients. Red currant jelly. More red wine. Now, Ms. Farmer, I'm going to hand this to you. Set that on the hottest part of that fire,
I will.
and we're going to reduce that down. How about some grilled fish, Mrs. Farmer?
I'm ready. I've got
All
your
right.
fish right here. Oh, wow.
Right here. Put a little more salt and pepper on there. Ms. Farmer, I can tell you got smoke in your eyes.
I do.
You know the song, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes?
Pretty song. I like it.
Beautiful song. We're wrapping up here. We're getting close. But you know what? As we get older, we're starting to pay more attention to what we put in our bodies.
That's right.
We went to see Dr. Matt the other day, and I had some questions about sugar, and so did other people. We're not going to have it every now and then.
Right.
But let's talk to Dr. Matt about the bad side of sugar.
Uh-oh.
Back by popular demand, it's our Ask Dr. Matt segment. People really like that. Folks out there have a lot of questions about food. First of all, let me ask you, before we get started, why the interest in food?
I mean, it's a cliche to say you are what you eat, but you literally, every cell in your body is made up of what you put in it.
I don't eat chicken feet.
That's great. You're not a chicken foot then. It's a good call. Chronic disease, what you are, every cell in your body, it's made up of what you eat and what you put in it. And I think it's a real disservice when medicine doesn't address that as much. So we really want to start with that. That's the core fundamental of health.
You know what, and food can be medicine.
It can be, yep.
You know what, I'm only wearing these glasses not because I can see, because I want to appear more studious when I'm with you.
It's
because
working.
Now that I'm 30, you know, I don't want to, you know, I don't really, anyhow. All right, let's start right off. Larry and Vicki Spencer says this is a great part of the show. Thanks. So
Thank you,
people
Larry
are
and Vicki.
liking this map. So let's go right into something that I was telling Kelly about on the way here. As a kid, growing up in rural Kentucky, now our water was either iron, or it'd have a sulfury taste, or it was from a cistern. And when you'd come in for a drink, you wouldn't drink the water, but they would disguise that with Kool-Aid, or if you're lucky, you had pop. Now, what does that do to your body when you have 2 cups of sugar poured into a gallon of water and with dyes and you drink it?
Yeah, I don't think lucky is the right word about having pop either, but yeah, I'm sure you felt you were lucky at the time. So sugar, I think most people know at this point, it is bad for you. It has a negative effect on your body. It affects everyone differently. I'll talk in general terms about sugar. It increases inflammation, which is bad. So we know it's excess calories lead to weight gain and insulin resistance, which are all bad things, but inflammation itself, a lot of people are using the term inflammaging now, because inflammation is what determines how quickly you age and how quickly you get all the chronic diseases of aging: heart attack, stroke, cancer, Alzheimer's and dementia. All of these things are driven by chronic inflammation, and sugar increases your body's level of inflammation. I saw a really interesting study just on what happens if you eat 50 grams of fructose. So that's 200 calories worth of fructose, which is one of the types of sugars. And 30 minutes later, your levels of CRP, which is a marker of inflammation, are elevated just from that 200 calories. 1 soda a day, I've seen studies showing that 1 extra sugary soda a day increases your chronic inflammation. And we have multiple studies linking increased sugar consumption to cancer.
Doesn't it feed cancer? I mean, does it?
So a lot of cancers do feed, particularly on glucose. So yeah, it can speed up the progression as well. Sugar is never going to benefit your health,
Right.
but take it in small doses. I don't want to ruin people's life by telling them they can never have sugar again. But the less, the better for your health, pretty much. I mean, that's the rule in general. And there are good sugar substitutes you can use as well.
And what are those?
Well, just to be clear, a lot of the sugar substitutes aren't great. Stevia is usually the one that I recommend to people. It's probably that has the least negative effects for you.
Let me ask you something. Is sugar technically addictive?
It depends on how you define addictive. Absolutely. I mean, I think anybody that eats sugar would tell you they crave it,
Right.
and that craving means it's probably addictive. There are functional MRI studies that look at the brain when you have sugar, and some of the similar regions light up as when you do cocaine or heroin. So it could be classified as addictive, but everything, it's on a spectrum. Is it addictive as smoking? No. As addictive as heroin? No. But people do crave it when they don't have it if they're accustomed to it.
Okay, Becky Warner-Ivy says she was diagnosed in September with type 2 diabetes with A1C of 7.8. I've changed my diet and I have A1C of 5.4. What else could I do to be able to discontinue metformin?
First off, that's an incredible improvement. I want to commend Becky for that. 7.8 to a 5.4 is a big difference. So whatever she's doing is working. What I would say in general, everyone is different on how we're going to lower hemoglobin A1C with diet and exercise. So it depends on the situation, but what she's doing is working so well that I'll just say continue it. I would like to add the caveat though that metformin is a really interesting medication. Most patients that come to me end up stopping more medications than starting. We want to get people off drugs if we can, but metformin is one that a lot of people are taking just as a longevity medication. It's been shown to increase health span, especially in diabetics, and there are some really positive benefits to it. So if she said, what can I do to get off insulin, I'll be really aggressive with her. Metformin is a pretty safe drug that may have some other benefits. So just keep up the great work you're doing, and the metformin will be one of the last things you would actually stop. And just to be clear, hemoglobin A1C at 5.4 doesn't qualify as diabetes anymore. She has basically went from diabetic range, 7.8, down to 5.4, which is barely pre-diabetes. So that's a really great improvement.
So with doctors' recommendations of diet and exercise and so on and so forth, can you come out of that?
Absolutely. We see
Is
it
that common?
all the time. It is common if people do what they need to do.
Right.
In decreasing sugar, decreasing simple carbohydrates, exercise, the things that we know we need to do. When people actually do that, the hemoglobin A1C comes down and they get better.
So that's good news. Some folks can reverse that. That's
We
wonderful
see
news.
it quite often.
Wow. Thank you very much for that.
Now you think about this. That was swimming around not too long ago. That was up there on the hill,
Right.
running around chasing does. This, I don't know where it came from, but it sure looks good.
Yeah.
Beans, occasionally we'll find organic beans at
Right.
the store. Boy, when we do, we grab them up, and those are organic. Now look, I'm gonna go ahead and take this piece up. You wanna dip it
Dip
in
it.
raw oil's wonderful sauce. Wow.
That's amazing.
All right, Mr. Farmer.
It's tender.
Couldn't be. Now a lot of people talk about, how do I get the gamey taste out?
That has no gamey taste.
You don't want to hide the gamey flavor. You want to accentuate that flavor with seasonings that match it.
That's amazing.
All we did is put a little bacon on that, a little seasoning. Oh,
I like it.
There's zero wild taste there.
I like it.
One other thing, when you are processing your deer, I don't leave it hanging. I don't leave it on the bone.
Right.
I cut around the bone, and you'll have something beautiful like
Oh,
this
yeah.
every time. Oh, wow. Now let's try the fish real
Some
quick.
fish?
And if the fish gets in that red sauce, oh, it will not hurt it. You remember Maria's red sauce?
Very good.
Absolutely beautiful.
Some corn. I can't help it.
Wow.
Like that. Delish. Now a bean.
And our beans.
Those are finger licking good. Wow.
What's in the woods and on the water
It's amazing.
is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's right around you. If you don't hunt or fish, you might want to start.
Yeah.
If you got somebody who will share it with you,
There's people that share. That's right.
take it.
That's right. This is
Cook it.
good. This is
It's
good.
good for you. If you wanted to find these recipes, Ms. Farmer, where in the world would you go?
TimFarmersCountryKitchen.com. That's where I go.
We've got everything measured out because
We
Kelly
do.
made us.
That's right. She
We
made
never
it.
measured before, but she said, hey, people want to know. So we're
Right.
very careful to measure things now. Also, it's almost impossible to get on our Facebook
It is.
page.
It's hard.
It's difficult. There's how many steps?
One.
What do you do,
Now
Mrs.
you
Farmer?
hit like. I know it.
It's just that simple.
simple.
Hit like, come on over and talk with us. On Mondays, we share recipes. It's just a cool outfit. Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen Facebook page. And remember, wow, Ms. Farmer,
Yeah.
half hour's up. It's
yes,
all
it is.
about
Good times
good friends.
and good eats. Can we eat?
We can eat.
I want to
Dig
eat more.
in.
I want more steak.
I want that piece.
Do you want that piece?
To order a cookbook, please call 502-319-0487 or email timfarmerck@gmail.com.